And then we had to do everything. Everything from washing linen.
Wow. So you didn't have nurses' aides or nursing assistants?
We didn't have them then.
Oh, you did everything?
Everything. In the night when it's time to get off, you upstairs, one of your nurses downstairs to the linen room, and you throw in the dirty clothes. Listen, that used to be something.
Wow.
She was born on October 26, 1929 in Over the Hill, Nassau, Bahamas on Hay Street. She grew up out east in Balls Alley off Shirley Street to Miriam Nesbitt of Ragged Island and Joshua Sweeting of Wemyss, Bight, Eleuthera. She graduated with a certificate of proficiency in nursing from the Bahamas General Hospital in 1950, at a time when nurses did everything from bathing the patients to making beds, to administering medications, to cleaning and dressing wounds, to washing the dirty linen and cleaning the wards and bathrooms and more, for only £5 a month. In this episode of Bahamian Heritage Series, 95-year-old Nurse Viola Sweeting.
My name is Viola Sweeting. 26 October 1929. That's when I was born.
So how old does that make you now?
95 yesterday.
Okay. Happy birthday. Happy belated birthday.
That's it. Yeah.
Yes. To God be the glory. You look so well.
Then Mama was 75 and she died. And I tell her, say, why we don't die together?
Oh boy.
It was only us two, you know.
Oh wow.
And I felt like if she go, it leave me. But I'm managing.
Yes,
God is good.
God is good.
Yes, ma'am, he's good.
Where were you born?
In Nassau.
And who were your parents?
My mother, she was Miriam Nesbitt. And my daddy was Joshua Sweeting.
Did you have brothers and sisters?
No.
You were an only child?
I had a brother, but he died when he was 9 months.
Okay.
So I was,
Were you older or younger?
older.
Okay. So you were the only child your mother and father had?
He had his first wife had a girl. So when my mother, she grew on Ragged Island because her mother died and her Grammy was home and she took her there because her daddy was somewhere in the West Indies on one motorboat.
Okay.
These but ain't got no motor. And she grew up there. But her sister was in Nassau with some relatives. I don't know who the relatives were. But so they didn't go together.
Okay.
But they knew each other. But
So what about your father? Was he from Nassau?
He was from Wemyss, Bight, Eleuthera.
Okay, so he was from Eleuthera. So when you grew up in Nassau, you grew up basically as an only child?
Yeah.
Okay, where in Nassau did you grow up?
Now, I was born in Hay Street. But my mother came to Nassau when she was 25. Well, then she didn't know nothing, And then she met this gentleman and got me somehow or the other. You know how that goes. And, well, she lived over the hill with this same cousin here with her mother and Mama was two first cousins.
Okay.
And they lived here for a while. Then she went with them. Then my godfather, he came to Nassau and then he worked at J.P. Sands and he took Mama in, him and his wife took Mama in and then she had this little baby, you see?
Okay.
And I used to call Aunt Lily. All she used to do was mind the baby and Mama do the work.
So what about your grandparents? Did you know your grandparents?
Now listen, I met my grandfather on Mama's side. She never met him.
Okay.
She didn't know him. But he came to Nassau and he was on a boat with some people, and he was up to Fowler Street dock. It was the dock then, this is that's not and he was talking to some boys, and he said to them, this the uncle now, he said to them, I have some nieces here in Nassau. He said, but I don't know where to find them. And it happened that one of the boys was the niece's son.
Okay.
And he was so proud of that. And then, I met that uncle. After I met the uncle, when I finished my training, I went to West Palm Beach to him, and his brother was living in New York, and he was on the boat still, and then he sent me to New York to meet Mama Daddy.
Okay.
And I met her, and she looked like him.
Wow.
Oh,
Family can't hide it.
Listen, she looked exactly like the man.
So what about the grandmother?
Now, I didn't know.
She had already passed.
Yeah.
Or something? Okay. So what about the grandparents on your? What was his name? Do you remember?
He was Percival Nesbitt.
Percival Nesbitt. Okay. And what about the grandparents on your father's side?
Father's side. She was named Matilda Sweeting.
Okay.
You see? Well, I know her because she used to come down and go up and like that. So I know, but I don't know his daddy. I never met his daddy, and I think it was 3 brothers of them, and was a bunch of sisters.
Okay. So tell me about Hay Street back in the day. What was Hay Street like?
It wasn't. Now what am I say? Mr. Toot had some rented house. Mr. Toot, Lawyer Toot, brother.
The house you lived in, is it still there?
No.
Okay.
No, because the hurricane in 19, when I born, they said it looked as though it was rocking.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And so the neighbors told her to come over to them because this house don't look sick. And honey, it blew right down. I said, well, good thing she went over.
Yeah.
I would not have been here.
Okay. So were there a lot of people living on Hay Street at the time?
Yeah, well.
Can you remember any of their names?
No, I don't remember the name. Only the ones with the Moxies. I know the Moxies up to go into East Street. It further up.
Right.
We was down going to Market Street, but they were up. Only the Moxies. They from Ragged Island. That's why I know them.
Okay. So you grew up on Hay Street?
No, I wasn't. I didn't grow up on Hay Street. I lived out east after that.
Okay.
Then we see this.
So you was born?
I was born in Hay Street, but this godfather, after he and his wife separated, the wife carried Mama with her.
Okay.
And she came up to Balls Alley.
Okay.
Up east, and I go up at east now. I know most of the people, out east. I don't know them.
So when you say out east, that's where Balls Alley?
Yeah, you don't know where Balls Alley is?
I'm sure I do, but I can't think right now.
But let me tell you where Balls Alley is. They have a Fowler Street up east. You don't know Fowler Street. You know St. James Road. Well, St. James Road on this side and Balls Alley on the other side. So I all my life I spent out east, you see. So
Okay.
I don't know too much about over the hill.
So where did you go to school?
To we used to call it Miss Worrell's School and Eastern Senior.
Okay. All right. So that's where you went to school.
Yeah, that Mr. Davis was the headmaster.
Do you remember anybody who was at the school? Do you remember persons that you graduated with or that you spent time with at school? Classmates? Anybody whose names you could remember?
A cousin of mine just died. Betty Mackey. Her husband was in the House of Assembly, and she just died. She went there.
Okay.
Yeah, and we lived in the same yard, and then Olive Taylor and a whole bunch of us, but most of them gone one day.
Yeah, well, that's the thing about getting older.
That's
It's that persons who you were close to have now passed. When you left that school, what did you do afterward?
I went into nursing.
Immediately, you went into nursing.
Yeah.
And how did that happen? Is it something you had planned to do?
Well, it wasn't much colored people could do, and so was I the police or the nursing
Or teacher?
And now I didn't much teaching so much, and so I said I had a friend, and she went into nursing. Mary Johnson was her name. She's a nurse.
Where did they teach nursing at the time?
Well, what happened? We had English nurses, English people come out. We never had any colored, ones at that time. And one will come out for a season and she'll go back. And then another lot will come and the matron was white and everybody was white.
Everybody in charge.
You got the general.
Yeah.
And
So where was the hospital at the time?
right where it is now. See, it was wooden, but it was centered right where the hospital is.
Where Princess Margaret Hospital.
Yeah.
So when was it you didn't train at Prospect Ridge?
No.
No? Okay.
I started at the Bahamas General. It was Bahamas General then.
Before it was Princess Margaret.
Yeah,
Hospital. So that's where you trained.
It was Princess Margaret after the Queen come out or somebody come out, and they named it after her.
Okay, so you did nursing right there at the Bahamas General Hospital.
The whole while, 40 years.
Do you remember how long the course was back in those days?
4 years.
Okay, so 4 years you had to train.
Yeah, and listen, that was hard training here. Because when you did night duty, you did it the whole month.
Wow.
From the 1st of January, the 1st of February, we used to count it to the last of February. That was 28 days, you see. And so we used to count that.
So it seems like they did a lot of hands-on nursing back in those days. Like you literally trained at work. Yeah?
And then you had, what happened? We had lectures. The doctors would come a certain time, and you'll have to go to the class, you see, and you'll be in the class until his session hour. But then hands-on, everything was hands-on. And hands-on, that meant they ain't got no thing. You put your foot on and do.
So the doctors are literally helped to train you.
Yeah.
Because nowadays doctors don't train nurses. Nurses train nurses.
That's something.
So the doctors have to train you along with the British nurses.
Yeah.
And the course was difficult, you said? Did a lot of people drop out along the way, or most people made it?
What happened? You see, you couldn't get pregnant if you wanted to come. They stipulate that.
Could you be married?
No.
Oh, you had to be single? Okay. So if you got pregnant, you left. You had to leave.
You leave before they know.
Boy. Okay. Was there a certain age that you had to be?
Yeah, well, they said 17, but I went when I was 16, you see? But I was so big, you could see I was big. And so they didn't notice the 16 years. But when I was 17, then they noticed it, but it was there too long. Then I was from March until October, and they couldn't throw me out. Although they used to send a nurse home because she was small, but she was old.
So what does some size have to do with it?
Yeah, but they sent her home because she was tiny.
Because they figured you couldn't handle it?
I don't know what to do. But but she came back in after a while, and you know, when things change, she came back. She just died here recently, you know, and she was 100.
Oh wow! So it took 4 years, and then once you were finished, you continued working right there at Princess Margaret Hospital.
I continued right there, and everybody say, "Why you don't go? You could get 12 shilling a day, you know."
Where was that?
12 shilling you could get for the nursing a day, and that was plenty. But I didn't want to, you know. I said I like with the people, and I was there for a lot.
So what were you getting paid then?
Oh, don't talk on it.
So where did they want you to go where you would get 12 shillings?
Well, private.
Oh, private
nursing,
okay.
you see.
So you stayed at the hospital.
I stayed at the hospital 40 years.
Wow.
I stayed there, and I just grumbled, but you know, I just thank God for it, because had I not stayed, how I would have been now, alone, no children, no nothing, no. You understand my point? So I'm grateful.
You made a lot of friends, and you have a lot of comrades because of that, hey?
Yeah.
Over the years.
But some of them been going on now.
Yeah.
Every time you look in the papers, you see 1, 2 going on.
It's a job that I suppose, like teaching, like being a policeman, that you can affect so many lives in a positive way.
That's something. Dr. Farrington came. I was on the ward, and this man, he was down at the end of the ward, and every morning, you know, when you go around, you see everybody you go around. So I went down to see him. Now, Dr. Farrington never came in early, you know, so I was down to the man talking, and I was telling him, I say, you know, you have to behave yourself if you want to get the glory. And I was going on with him and telling him, I say, you know, you can't get there, because heaven is a holy place. And I was talking, now I didn't know. Dr. Farrington came in, and I was talking to the man in the bed, but he was back on to me, and he said, you trying? And you know, the man died.
Oh, wow.
I said, that's something. When I went off for 2 days, and when I came back, he was dead. And I felt it so.
So I'm just interested, back in the day, as a training nurse, what was a day like? Like when you, let's just say in your 3rd or 4th year of nursing, like what were you supposed to do? How did you just go on the ward and work, or how did that work?
Well, what happened when you started, when you go on the morning, you know, you go in and you get the report, and then they had, you know, the call, everybody around the desk, and you get the report, and you hear how this one, that one doing. And then we had to do everything from washing linen.
Wow, so you didn't have nurses' aides or nursing assistants?
We didn't have them then.
Oh, you did everything?
Everything. In the night when it's time to get off, you upstairs, one of your nurses downstairs to the linen room, and you throw in the dirty clothes. Listen, that used to be something.
Wow. So you did everything. You washed the linen, you make up the beds, you clean the patient.
Yeah.
You give them medication. You do the dressings. You do everything. That's the days when nursing was real nursing.
That's true. It was nursing then. But you didn't think of it as that. You know.
That's a lot of work.
Yeah, but it was a load of work. And sometimes when we clean in the bathroom, you have to clean the tub.
So they didn't have housemaid and things?
No, they didn't. You see the load of people going around now and cute and do. They didn't have them.
So you had to wear white though? You never used to get your white clothes messed up?
No, we never wear white.
No? What color you wore?
We wore pink to begin with, and then blue until you finish. Pink for a year, and the 3 years blue. And you washing them, and you got your apron, it hook up around it.
But you had to wear a cap too, right?
Yeah, but we had one little piece of cap. We used to make it, because we used to make it out of blotter. And you could pull it, you see, and you pull it in the back, and it fill up, and then you put it.
Okay. Wow, nursing was something else.
Yes, it was nursing then.
So did you all have shortages of nurses, or you had a lot of nurses back in those days?
Well, we didn't have a lot, but we had sufficient to kind of,
So the nurses that came from England that used to teach, did any of them work with you, or they only taught?
Well, they would come on the ward and do, but they ain't doing that much, because you see, we there to do.
So they were like matrons? Or nurses?
No, they were just sisters. We used to call them sisters, you see. Well, they had one, well, she'll be the matron.
So that would be the one who was overall?
Yeah.
Okay.
And, but man, when you think of it now, it's looking back.
So what areas of the hospital did you work in? All, or
Yeah.
which areas you work most?
Male surgical
Okay.
on the man ward. I was there a long time, and like when I wanted to, well, I don't like the theater, but I wanted a spell in the theater, but doctors say if they take me off the ward, who would be there to do?
So the doctors had a lot to say regarding where the nurses were and what they did. Like, did you ever become a sister, or not really?
When I came, I had a 6 months in England, and when I came back, you see, they must elevate me, I say. I wasn't born by no elevation. I wanted to work, you see, but Miss Fountain, that tickled me. And I said, I don't want to go to New England. So she said, why not go to England and at the expense of Bahamas government?
Okay.
So then I took it up and I went.
So what did you do there?
Well, in England, I worked in Plymouth, the hospital, the Plymouth Hospital. And and I thought it was nice. I met at a funeral last week, and I look at this girl, and look, and she looked so familiar, but I didn't know her. Then the funeral out, and I got to, she said, I see you noticing me, and I wondered who you were. I said, we slept in the same bed.
In England?
Yeah. But she looked so different. And I guess I look different. I don't know.
So how long did you stay in England?
6 months.
Okay. Wow, that's a little stretch.
Yeah.
So, and what did that teach you? Like, what were they trying to...
When we went, they had, just like home here, but they had the classes, but they allow us to wear our own uniforms. And so I wear what I was wearing here. And
was it hard?
Well, listen, the teacher what we had, she was an atheist, but she was brilliant. Yeah.
So when you came back home, you got a promotion? Was that what they did?
Well, they gave me a couple of dollars. It wasn't much.
Yeah. So you remember what the salary was back in those days?
Well, when I graduated, I knew it was £5. And
that's a week?
A week? A month? And
£5 a month.
And
this has been abused for a little while now.
£5, and then I got the first £5. I felt like tearing it in two and give Mama half, and I keep half. But if you tear it, you see, it won't work. And then I opened my first bank account. When I went to the bank, well, I didn't have enough money to open it, you see. And the lady said, you have to have so much. So I said, I kind of was taken back, So she said, where do you work? I said, I work at the Bahamas General. Oh, she said, I could make it out for you. And she will make it out. And she said, when the wages come, she'll put it away. But it wasn't much of wages, because, to say, boys was getting £2, 3 and 6 when they started. And we was getting £1, 9.
All that work. My goodness.
And now I'm here and they ain't getting nothing. You see? Because of pension now. And so they ain't give me nothing now.
Wow.
But thank God for it just the same,
Yeah. So your life's journey really encompassed nursing for the most part. What about church? What church did you go to growing up?
Well, I started at St. Matthew's Anglican.
Okay.
And I never changed it until I was graduated. Because when I was sick, and I went in the hospital, and I like church, and I used to go to the 7-day Saturday and Sunday I go to my church.
Okay.
And any other church round, I go to it.
Oh, you just like church?
And so
ain't nothing wrong with that.
That's up me.
Where else did you work other than Princess Margaret Hospital?
Well, see, Princess Margaret was enveloped in everything then. They have it kind of different now. Sandlands is a different something and a something and a something. But then we call it one because when you going up to Sunderland's to work, you only a part of and so we never differentiate them to say you're going to the islands so and so. But I've been to Cat Island. I spent 8 months there. And where else I went? I've been to Abaco. And how many years I've been there? A little while, good while, because I'm married there. Someplace else I've been.
So you were the district, what they call them? Like a district nurse down there?
Yeah, but only you one there.
Yes, you won. No doctor sometime, eh?
Oh, doctor?
So you had to do everything. What about, you did do deliveries too?
Yeah. Well, they only send us out when we have had delivery. Now, the 4 years training, we did 1 year of midwifery.
Okay.
But now they only doing 3 years. So they have to do midwifery as a
separate specialty.
Right. That's how that is.
So back in the day, everybody did midwifery.
Yeah. If you come in and you didn't get finished, but you did the midwifery, you'll have the midwife certificate.
Okay.
You see, and so it used to help you out, But you know what that is.
Do you still have that certificate from your nursing?
Child, it in there listen, Dr. White's daddy, he was so proud and he framed it for me. And you could hardly see the writing on it now.
It would then fade out.
You could manage to see Dr. Huggins' name. But Dr. Huggins was there then, you see. And you could manage to see. But that is so beautiful.
So you were only 20, I guess, when you finished, because you started at 17, 2021. Yeah. And now you're 95. So I guess it would be faded. Be faded.
Yeah, but but he framed it. He was a carpenter, and he made this frame. They were so proud. See, when you go from the place where you're living, and they know children, and they just be proud of the children who do. But I don't know if they could thank you, honey. No, I don't know.
What are some of the things that you could think of that was very memorable in your youth, or your childhood, or even your nursing years? Things that you think about often that happened to you. Was there anything that stands out?
Only your mama used to beat me.
What? I bet that beating caused you to be a very disciplined person, though.
Yeah, but she never let me go anywhere.
No, she was strict.
Strict, and only had me one.
That's why she was strict. She only had you to concentrate on.
That child, oh.
She made sure you was walking that straight and narrow path.
That's her son. And she tell me, she say, you go into the hospital. And when you get down there, don't you do any fool. Because if you do any fool, don't come back up here to me. And she never talked much, you know. She never had much to say. But when she said it, and she used to whip me for nothing. I nice to do.
Lord.
And if I go out to the pump, you know, we used to have pump in the street then. And we was in this yard, and I go out. And if I stay out there a little while, the Conky Joe lady across the road used to tell her. So she say, I say out to the pump. And then she come, what you was doing out to that pump? And then she ready to whip me for nothing, you know. But I guess that's the way she know how to bring me up. Yeah. So, but anyway, but I don't think of nothing, you know, especially. And I know one time I forgot to put the medicine in the book when we writing the report, and sister came around and she read. She said, but Nice Sweeting didn't put the medicine. So Mr. LaRoda, he was my everything, because he could stand up for me now. So he said, well, one thing I could tell you, sister, if she did it, she forgot to put it in the report. That was the only thing. He said, now when he called me home, he said, I put my head on the on the block for you. I said, what happened? He said, you didn't put where the man got. I said, and you know I gave that to him. Because you see, I didn't fail on my job. You know, I know what to do, and I will do it. But I had forgot to write it in. And he said, put my neck on the block. I said, yes, brother.
They were strict back then. You had to make sure everything was done just so.
Yeah, and that's how that was. But you know, but different than that. But I was following. Yeah, because the children of today, it's same as though they ain't children. And so you don't know what to say to them.
Too much exposure.
You know, you like I just listened to the TV and the room shut up. You don't know what they're listening to. You know what I mean? And so I don't know. And then some of us think so much of our children, we can't talk to them. You know, but if ever a time they need to talk to them, it's now. Now is the time. When they're coming up, and when they get 7, they finish. But then the thing about it is, see, some of the parents, they have so many children, they have to go out to work. They have to go early. And they leave the children home to get the one ready for the other one to go. And it can't work. It don't work.
You are 95 years old. So what accounts for that?
Well, the thing about it is, it was the way I was brought up, you know, because I wasn't allowed to go here, there, and everywhere. And I mean, I might have disliked it, but
it worked for you in there, eh?
And so I'm here able to manage on my own, you know, even though I'm teaching Greta how to, you know, dress me and things like that.
Right.
But I feel like my life was, I don't know what to say. It was, and I was friendly with everybody.
You seem to be a light-hearted person.
Yeah, and
like
then
don't take things too serious.
And then, like how I worked with the men, and mainly I had boys with me, and they know I liked ice cream. So one Christmas they bought me an ice cream freezer.
Okay.
And that tickled me. And I said, I wonder what this is. It was an ice cream freezer. They say you could freeze your own ice cream now.
Wow.
But I got along with, well, some people don't like me, because they say, huh? Child, I want more work with her. But you see, they never worked with me. And so they didn't know exactly what and what.
Right.
But otherwise, I was the sweetest person. Since you doing your work and I doing mine, we never had no fuss.
Yes.
But I'm right here on my own, you see. So thank God for it. And thank Him for His blessings. Because He's blessed me, and He's still blessing me.
Amen. Amen.
At 95 years old, Nurse Viola Sweeting remains a beacon of inspiration, her lifetime of dedicated service to our country continuing to uplift all who know her. Despite her advanced age, she embraces each day with a joyful spirit, living a vibrant, productive life and reveling in the rewards of her steadfast efforts. Bahamian Heritage Series proudly salutes this remarkable woman for her invaluable contributions to the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.